Flying Casual is brought to you by Patreon supporters Brent, David Bush, Jory Webb, Nate Edison, Wes Anderson, Kelly Breckner, and Andy Dugan. May the Force be with you.
You're listening to Flying Casual, a Star Wars podcast. Here's your host, Michael Canterbury.
Casual fam, welcome back to another episode of Flying Casual. Welcome to all of you listening on whatever podcast network service you're listening to, or if you're checking it on YouTube, whatever you want to call it. If you're on YouTube, thanks for watching as well. Some fun stuff there as well on YouTube. So if you're not listening on YouTube, go check out YouTube. Look at this handsome mug every once in a while, you know, or not so handsome. But I am your host, Michael Canterbury. And if you do want to go to YouTube and see a couple of handsome people, not including myself, the lovely Holly Walton is also joining me. Holly, how are you doing?
Feeling very handsome right now.
You're feeling very handsome? That's yes. A compliment. That's a non-gender specific compliment,
You're right?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Mm-hmm. I'm also very hot, and that's not...
Yeah.
It's just like hot here
It's
suddenly.
hot in the studio because the air's off, the windows are open, that you can hear the tree frogs. They may come through the mic. I have no idea.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Well, I got this fan on my computer, so let's hope nothing overheats here. But
I've just been
it's
like...
a hot one.
Waiting for the chance to have the windows open, and like I think every day I've been like, oh man, is it too cold to open the windows? And now
anymore.
it's not too cold to open the windows, it's just hot.
Everything's hot and wet. And speaking of hot and wet, we have another handsome member of this cast, the lovely and handsome Luke Elder. Luke, how you doing, my friend?
Wow, that's quite the intro. I'm doing pretty well.
Hot and wet as always. Folks, we there's not a whole lot in this. I meant to oil this damn boom arm, Holly.
I tell Michael all the time, get some WD-40.
That was on the list for the Lowe's run this morning, and
all
totally
3 of the
forgot.
Lowe's runs.
Well, that's
Wow.
Let's not tell everyone that we're that forgetful. But yeah, this thing squeaks. You'll hear it. This is great podcasting right there. Cheesy Pete, I got to get that fixed. So if you hear that, that's just me adjusting this boom arm because it's super annoying. But we'll get that greased up here soon. But so not a whole lot happening in Star Wars right now, Holly. Some announcements, and I got to be honest, I'm kind of I think I'm past the point of annoyed now. With all the Mandalorian announcements.
Oh, don't even get me started.
You know, the Ahsoka thing, I didn't really believe it. What else has been the recent announcements? We had Ahsoka. Boba Fett.
Boba Fett.
Yeah, Boba Fett. That was, that's whatever. But now, Bo-Katan. Mm-hmm. And we'll start with Bo-Katan. Bo-Katan reportedly being voiced, or I guess being portrayed by Katie Sackhoff herself?
It's the word on the street.
Is that the word on the street? Luke, how you feel about that? I mean, it seems owed and amazing. I have some other grief, but how do you feel about the Bo-Katan coming in live action? It sounds right?
Yeah, it's cool to see that kind of continuity of the character jump over from Clone Wars and Rebels.
Yeah.
I know she's well known for her work on Battlestar Galactica, which I haven't personally watched.
Yeah.
But I know she's kind of got a pretty big following from that, and people really enjoy that. So she has that live action experience already. So you figure, she can come on board and pick right up.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, that continuity. Continuity. It's it's just like documentary, Holly. Documentary. You can pronounce it however you want.
Tomato.
How did I graduate?
Rough.
Now that's just a Midwestern thing.
Crick. Route.
Roof.
Okay.
It's not a dog barking, Holly. It's a roof. Okay, you put shingles on it. It protects your home.
That's right. And the dog runs around and says roof.
He may, Chewy, and we'll get confirmation on that. But Holly, it makes sense to have Bo-Katan in this, right? I mean,
sure.
And Katie Sackhoff has some acting chops, like Luke said. But I gotta be honest, guys. I'm a little upset. If Katie Sackhoff is getting this opportunity, let's have Ashley Eckstein have the opportunity to play Ahsoka if she's coming back.
We love Ashley,
right? She's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, what did you say, though, before, Holly, when we got started? You said, well, maybe she doesn't want to do it, Michael.
Yeah, maybe she doesn't.
And I flipped out on you.
Absolutely flipped out.
Why would she not want to do it? I mean, maybe she doesn't. That's cool.
Has Ashley Eckstein ever like live acted anything?
That's a great. We'd have to call her. Spoiler alert! Who do we have on the phone? Ashley. I'm just kidding. We don't have Ashley Eckstein on the phone.
That would be amazing.
Luke, are you familiar with any acting? Other than voice stuff that Ashley Eckstein's done. I'm not.
Not intimately familiar with any of it, but I know she's done some stuff. But maybe we can. I'll try to pull up maybe an IMDb or something to see what it is, because I really don't know. Nothing. I think she's best known for Ahsoka, so nothing huge.
Yeah, I just feel like maybe she doesn't want. Maybe she's just not into the live acting stuff.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But you know what? The thing is, if they're not even gonna, they better have given her the opportunity. Okay, so if she's not playing Ahsoka, it's because she didn't want to do it.
Are you going to not watch it?
That's the craziest thing I think you've ever said ever. No, of course I'll watch it, but I'm just saying, if she's not playing Ahsoka, if Ahsoka's even in this show, can we just, that alone? I don't see that happening. But I don't know. Am I crazy?
No. Well, no. Here's the thing.
Well, you're like, that's a bigger question. You
That's
are
for
crazy.
another episode of another podcast.
That's right.
No, but I just feel like every time they announce something like, oh, this person's going to do this, and that person's going to be it, and we're going to get this appearance from Ahsoka and this appearance from Boba Fett, I'm like, can you please leave something to surprise me with?
That's what upsets me the most.
I just because now I'm just going to expect it. And you guys, I say this a billion times.
Yeah.
I don't like going into these things with expectations.
No, yeah, you like the surprise.
I love the surprise.
Going in. I mean, you don't even like watching trailers, really.
I do not like watching trailers. I want to go in blind.
Yeah. Well, I make you watch them because we do a podcast on Star Wars, so that you have to.
I never want to talk about this stuff, and Michael's like, "Well, too bad."
Yeah, I mean, you got to do a reaction. You got to grow the community here, so you got to do the reaction.
Michael says, "Do it for the cast."
Do it for the cast, bro. Do it for the cast. That's exactly how we talk. I actually would love to get Luke to do a reaction too. Wouldn't that be epic, Holly?
Yeah,
it would just.
Cool.
I don't know, because Luke and I talk over text, and sometimes he sends me really cool stuff, and he's just like, dude, that blew me away. But, I want to see that recorded. You know what I'm saying?
Luke being blown away?
Yes, but, I think it would be really chill and level-headed, other than me just being I do, people do screen captures for their clip art of them being, crazy. That is an actual clip of me reacting to what I'm seeing.
Yes.
The crazy face you're seeing is my legitimate reaction on what we've posted in the past. Some people will just make it look so epic, they're blown away. No,
Michael actually is.
I capture the moment and take a still of it. Luke, I mean, could we get you to do a reaction at some point? Maybe when The Mandalorian starts dropping some trailers, I would love to see that.
Yeah, I'd love to see it too, because I'm not always known for being the strongest emoter. My
That's okay.
text might be more animated than my physical or voice reaction to things. Yeah, my wife will talk about how stoic I am at times, and I tend to get emotional, outwardly only for certain things.
Yeah.
One of them could be Star Wars, I think.
Yeah.
And certain soccer games and soccer situations that I'm watching or remembering, and I can get emotional for some Star Wars.
I feel like we could bring in the Columbus Crew in with Star Wars in some way to make them related, Holly, right? Bring the passion into it, yeah.
Do they do a Star Wars in it like the Clippers do?
Yeah, they've had.
I thought they have
stormtroopers and Chewbacca running around before, Yeah.
So Luke was at a 10 that night.
He was probably sobbing,
raging. Yeah, I mean that probably. Well, now that's something we have to see. We've got to see Luke doing a reaction. That'd be epic.
Also, this conversation just made me think, what if there was an Imperial soccer team? Would you see a stormtrooper playing goalie?
Oh my God, probably. And if there were an Imperial soccer team, Luke. So when I when I look at sports teams, I kind of look at things that way. Like, who's the evil villain, right? So there's a few of them. In the NFL, that's the New England Patriots.
It is not, but carry on.
That's. I mean, maybe not now without Tom Brady, but that's
it's the Buccaneers.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Okay.
It's not. They're the Palpatine of the universe, right?
Not the Patriots.
Not the Buccaneers, whoever you want to call them now. They're the villain, right? Okay. So Luke, with that in your mind, who in the MLS is the villain of the league? Do we have is the Columbus Crew the villain of the league?
No. Far from. I don't think there's what you would describe as a villain. There's a joke or a thing around the league that the LA Galaxy get whatever they want, that they get the rules changed for them every now and then. So it's not exactly that they're evil, but they're the favorite child.
Is that because Beckham went to LA? Is that?
Yeah, that's where it all stems from.
Yeah,
that. But
he's got the Tom Brady ego.
There's been a lot of new teams over the past decade, so it's different now.
First of all,
Holly, I'm gonna let you speak. Sorry.
Beckham doesn't have a Tom Brady ego. His ego is like 50. Yes. No,
Crazy.
his ego is like 50 times bigger than Tom Brady's ego.
That's okay. Hey, Palpatine, whatever you want to say, that's fine.
And he's also a real big baby.
Well, Luke's gonna hate me for this, but there's a lot of babies in soccer. Luke, am I right? I mean, there's a lot of drama. There's a lot of babies in that league. All soccer leagues.
They would be, a lot of soccer players would be good at reaction videos.
Yes.
Good at emoting.
Yes.
Well, we need to find who's a Star Wars fan in the MLS and bring them on the podcast.
Okay, maybe next week we'll all just
David Beckham reacts to The Mandalorian season 2. Sorry, Holly.
David Beckham reacts to Luke reacting to The Mandalorian season 2 trailer.
They should be like, that guy was so chill. He must be a Columbus Crew fan.
No, Columbus Crew fans are like cray-cray.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, they are.
You have a crew story of going crazy?
No, but I was going to say, maybe next week we'll all just wear our soccer jerseys on the podcast.
Okay, I have a shirt from circa 2010 from the Columbus Crew. Probably way too small for me.
Listen, I have a Robbie Rogers jersey that you could absolutely.
You're speaking names. I have no idea. Robbie Rogers sounds like a freaking cartoon character.
That's Roger Rabbit. Robert. This is turning into a tongue twister. I hate it.
Yeah, that's okay. I couldn't even tell you really how we got on this MLS rant or soccer in general. I have no idea.
I started an Imperial soccer team.
You did. That's right. You did. Yeah. If there was an Imperial soccer team, who would it be? And I called New England Patriots the most evil team of all time.
Which is wrong, but anyway.
Well, tomato. We're just going to agree to disagree on that, Holly, but that's okay. That's okay. So we're definitely going to have Luke do some reactions here, so expect those. It might actually be good to cut, us in there with him so people can see just how crazy we are and how really mellow he is. That would be great.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
I think that
How are you gonna cut it in there?
Magic.
Oh.
Magic. Yeah.
Black magic?
Or
black art, as Anakin would say.
The black arts, he calls them. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Night Sister magic.
That's right. Some Night Sister magic with a K at the end of it.
Yes.
The comic says.
I'm into that.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. So I want to get to some of that news we talked about. We talked about Bo-Katan and remind me again, Katie Sackhoff playing that character in live action, which is great. We talked about Ahsoka, and Ashley Eckstein should get that opportunity. The most recent announcement blew me away because I love this guy. It reminded Timothy Oliphant. Okay, I love this guy. He's done a lot of acting. Recently, Holly tried to show me the Santa Clarita Diet. That's a weird freaking show.
Michael was like, oh my God, Timothy Oliphant. I love him just like I love Sam Witwer.
Wow,
and I was like,
that's not even close, but yeah.
And I was like, okay, have you seen the Santa Clarita Diet?
Jeez.
And he was like, no. And we were like eating dinner, and I was like, well, let's watch it.
Yeah, you don't tell me that it's the most gory show on television, and it's a comedy. So it's just, they're, pounds and pounds of vomit, pounds and pounds of blood and organs. and people just eating people. It's pretty
well,
disgusting.
one person eating people.
Wow.
Well, I guess it depends on what season. Anyway.
Oh, spoiler alert, Holly.
It's been out for years.
Well, I guess that's my bad. So you brought that show up,
Yeah.
and yeah, he's a, I don't know, he's just a fun guy. But the movie I love him most from is a little flick called I Am Number 4.
My
Okay,
God.
so Michael has a thing sometimes for these. I guess you call it teen sci-fi fantasy. I've read all the books of the I Am Number 4 series, but he was in that movie, and he was this mentor to this younger gentleman, and he was just awesome. He's just the man. So, Luke, hearing that news, I know you're a fan of Timothy, and I want to know if you're a fan of particular work of his, and what you think his role could be upcoming.
The role upcoming could be. I have enjoyed him in everything I've seen him in. I probably haven't seen him in a ton of stuff. I know he's really well known for another show. Is it kind of like a Western or cop show? I can't even remember, but I haven't seen that. I've seen him in some movies here and there. And one of the things when you were talking football earlier, that I've seen him in is The League, which is that show about fantasy football.
Oh.
And there's an episode where he plays a sushi chef, where he's really funny. But he's just like, he's really versatile. He can do the real serious stuff.
Yeah.
He can be really, really funny. They've done a good job of mixing, nice comedy into The Mandalorian along with the serious and the drama. I think he'll fit right in with that. I'm imagining he's going to be one of these one-off episode characters we meet. I don't think he's going to be somebody we see throughout the season, but somebody who pops into an episode. There were so many, I thought great performances for the first season like that, where people were just in one episode. In particular, his old sort of gang that he met up with again. I liked a lot of the performances there. So something like that I can see from Timothy Olyphant.
Absolutely, yeah. I agree, yeah. Maybe an episode or two. Definitely a good guy, right? I mean, I can't picture him being a bad guy. Holly, am I wrong?
I don't know.
That'd be wicked.
I could picture him being a bad guy because I could see him being like that bad guy who does something really terrible and then is like,
"Ooh, yeah.
Oops." You know what I'm saying? Like he has a way of like being really funny about things that are really serious and kind of like making you like he's that good like comedic relief, which I mean, I think sometimes the villains in Star Wars have a little bit of that.
Yeah, I could see him being kind of a DJ from The Last Jedi. Remember that character? I almost said Pablo something else, Picasso, but Hidalgo. What's his name, Luke? Am I forgetting that gentleman's name? Not Pablo Picasso, but
which guy?
DJ. Who played DJ?
Who was?
Benicio del Toro.
Benicio del Toro. Why was I saying it?
Oh yeah,
I was saying something else.
But yeah, that's exactly how I picture. Like if he was gonna be a bad guy, exactly like that.
You remember DJ from the he's on the.
I don't know why Sorry, everybody. I did not know that was his character's name.
Sounds like you're just a big old hater of The Last Jedi, Holly.
No, sounds like I'm not.
That's okay. No Last Jedi hate here.
Only episode 2.
Only episode 2. Yeah, slam. So that's exciting. That's cool. But yeah, what I was upset about at the beginning was that I'm at a point now. Let's stop revealing who's playing, who's been cast. Like I just kind of, it's fun to speculate and stuff, but now I'm at a point where it's just like, man, like come on, let's not ruin this good thing we got going.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. So at the end, like we got some spoilers for the first season of The Mandalorian, but truly like they kept like the Darksaber a secret until the very end, right? Yeah. But now I'm like, now that we've had that and now they're like releasing all these big names who may or may not be in the second season, like what's going to be like the big surprise then? Because I feel like they can't, I don't know. I feel like it would kind of be a letdown if there wasn't anything.
Well, yeah, but that's what we with all the speculation we put in the first season, like no one and their mother would have guessed that there was this Baby Yoda character,
Oh yeah,
right?
I forgot about Baby Yoda.
Are you freaking kidding me?
Whoops.
Oh my! Well, that's because I haven't got my plush yet from Michael Moore. That's going to go back there with the Porg. So I've got one of those huge lifelike plushes coming. So maybe that's why you didn't remember.
Oh my god, can you imagine if Baby Yoda and little Baby Porg grew up together?
They'll be friends back here on the set.
Oh my god, that would be the cutest.
So yeah. So I mean, who knows what we're gonna get? It's gonna be epic, I'm sure. But I just let's just let it happen. Let's let them finish the season and let's get to it. But
I will say this.
Yeah.
Somebody on this article from Star Wars Newsnet, you know, people can like leave comments. And it's like a real short article. It's like 2 paragraphs, not even.
Yeah.
Probably 1 paragraph if you put it all together. Somebody with the handle Obi-Wan Adobe, which
Ooh.
is funny anyway,
Yeah.
said, at this point, I'm expecting Tom Cruise and Denzel Washington to be announced for The Mandalorian because we're getting so far into, like, here's this name and here's that name.
Start bringing in big time actors, yeah.
It's kind of like they were just like, hey, which one of our friends really likes Star Wars? So we could just be like, do you want to be in an episode?
I thought Bill Burr was a big addition in the first season. I freaking love Bill Burr, and I thought he fit into that character and that role so well. So yeah, if it fits, and Tom Cruise could play someone really awesome, that's cool. I can only imagine Star Wars fans being like, Tom Cruise in Star Wars? Are you freaking kidding me? I mean, it's cool. Why not? But the best thing I saw recently was that someone said, breaking news, confirmed, Pedro Pascal hired on to be a leading role in The Mandalorian Season 2. I thought that
What
was
a surprise.
really funny. Yeah, so there's a lot happening, and there's a lot being released, way more. And I think it's, I guess it's expected. This happens with everything, but I think The Mandalorian was such a surprise and how great it was. And I don't know, it was just a big hit for everyone. And so I guess, I don't know, it just sours me a little bit. But it's not a big deal. It's not like if they start coming out with the entire story, then I'm going to be pissed off. But I can get over casting announcements. And I have no idea they're playing, so whatever.
My parents are watching The Mandalorian right now for the first time, and they keep we're like in this group chat, and my dad like keeps texting me, and he like thinks that he's being really funny. So he'll like text me like weird questions that he knows aren't right.
Yeah.
Like the other day he texted me, I'm assuming that he got introduced to Carl Weathers' character for the first time, and he texted me and he was like, wait a minute, why is Lando in the Mando? I was like, Dad, calm yourself down.
He's not that big of a Star Wars fan. Yeah, no, speaking of Carl Weathers, he had a pretty, I don't know, he had a nice discussion with the rest of the cast and Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni in the Disney Gallery episode, the last one. I thought that was really cool to hear from them. Though I feel like we actually didn't talk to the cast enough. This whole episode was about the cast, and then we had so many of the directors like doing cuts to them talking about the cast, but I kind of wanted to hear more from them. But just Carl Weathers was expected to be an alien and with a bunch of whatever makeup and everything on him, which is crazy. And I love that they got to a point where they're just like, no, like his voice and his presence is so recognizable. We need the person here. Luke, did anything stick out to you about that gallery episode? I mean, it was short and sweet, but there's some good moments in there.
Yeah, I don't think it was quite as juicy as the first two, maybe.
Oh,
but
no.
Speaking of, I like that you led off with Carl Weathers because, you have your Sam Witwer crush, obsession, whatever level we want to talk about it. I think I'm developing a Carl Weathers one from that episode. The dude looks like so good.
Yeah.
Like you rarely see anyone look so good.
Yeah.
His style was good. I really like the beard gray because in the show he's got the facial hair in the Mandalorian, but they must have dyed it.
Yeah. Because
it's dark. But like he looks really good with the gray beard that he had in there, and he just seems so cool and and pretty humble still too. And so yeah, I'm developing probably not your Sam Witwer level.
That's okay.
Crush, but yeah, a bit of an infatuation. with Carl Weathers there.
There's still time, Luke.
Yeah. And
So
go ahead.
no, that was it. Sorry.
No, it was funny how honest he was kind of about being reluctant to be brought on. I think he's just like, okay, I'll hear him out or whatever. But I think he just, I don't know. It felt like the passion behind the project and the people he's working around is really what kind of drew him into it. It wasn't like, he mentioned the script too, and I guess, that captivated him enough, but it was cool that he was honest about being like, you know what, and he can do that. He's kind of got that status now where he can just be like, no, this garbage, I don't think so. So I thought it was cool that he was honest about it and be like, I don't know. A lot of people say they want to be in a Star War, but it seemed like he was kind of apprehensive to start out. But I loved how complimentary he was of the other folks and gosh, why can't I name a Carano, Gina? I can never remember folks' names. She was highly complimentary of him too, and I thought everything they spoke of her, and I felt like she needed that too, right? You could see her insecurities about being in Hollywood, so to speak. I thought that was really cool. She came out and said, "I'm not your stereotypical like Hollywood person."
I mean, there's a very certain kind of woman who gets cast to be in movies in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And there's a very certain body type that gets cast to be in movies in Hollywood. And it is not your woman of average stature.
Yeah.
And women who have an average stature are usually seen as being like plus sized in Hollywood, which is BS anyway. But yeah, I think that Gina Carano was very honest in this conversation that they had about how, she was really scared about being on screen, and she didn't have your typical like Hollywood body, and she wasn't your typical Hollywood actress. And I think one of my favorite things is when they showed how she just like would go in and do a lot of her own stunts. Yeah. She would go in and pick people up. She carried the Mandalorian out of there, and everyone was like, oh my God, she's actually doing that herself. And I thought that was really cool. I think she in general is a very cool person.
Yeah, and that definitely came through. It was just her conversation was very real, and she admitted, I'm not used to this, but like everyone's been so welcoming, and they're so complimentary of her work. I was critical of some moments of her work and her acting because it's just not there yet. She just hasn't had a lot of experience, but the action, and that she even admitted that herself, that's where I really light up, that's where I come out, and the directors picked up on that too. So it's cool that it's, I don't know, it's just comforting to see that they're really picking her up and embracing her, and she's loving the experience. It's awesome.
They really believed in her because correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in that conversation, Pedro Pascal was the one who was like, I mean, they drew you into this before you had even said that you were going to do it. Yeah, I don't even think that she said they even like really, like she had to audition for it. They just were like, she's the one that we want. And we already put her in all of like the costumes and stuff. Like we already picked her out.
Yeah, she mentioned that they came to me. They liked what I brought to the table. It wasn't a, let's see if she's going to work or not. It's hers, and if she wants it. So that was cool. I don't know. It's definitely cool to get that perspective. And Pedro Pascal, the man just carries himself with a bunch of suave. He's just, but he's very humble. He's got a Harrison Ford confidence, but he's way more humble. It's something that Harrison Ford, I never looked at him and said, wow, that's a humble man right there. But like, I don't know. I picked that up on Pedro Pascal, right? But he does this whole side tilt thing the whole time. He's just looking at people like he's like a cute little puppy dog.
Well, I think he also looks at people like he's actually genuinely interested in what they're saying.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Listens.
He looks like he's getting lost in like the connection that's happening. I don't know. He was just so complimentary. They were all doing it.
Yeah, they all seem to get along really well, and that's like you guys were saying, like Carl Weathers like seemed very genuine, and then I think the interaction that him and Gina had between like how they both like really admired each other and they had a lot of respect for each other, just like it just felt like everyone in that cast just gets along like they're a little family.
Yeah, it's super cool, and that'll make for a good production, hopefully for years and years to come. I think that's awesome, and it was also cool. I love hearing Dave Filoni. Obviously, I mean, we talked about that. The whole internet talked about his description of the Duel of Fates, and it became this huge thing in Star Wars world. between Star Wars Theory and this dude who called it was a whole. I don't even gonna talk about because I think it's stupid on both ends, and I can't stand. I just want to talk about Star Wars. I don't need to talk about figureheads and people being critical of others. I think it's stupid anyway. But I love listening to Dave Filoni talk about Star Wars. But I also like him. I mentioned this when we were watching it, Holly. He's just sitting there all giddy when people were talking about all this stuff. He was almost silent the whole time, but he was just loving what was happening, and it's just, I don't know. It was so cool.
He just he wants to share Star Wars with people, and I think that when people get excited about the things that he's done for Star Wars, I think that just makes him really happy. Not because he's like look what I did. I think it's because he's more like, look what I did. I'm building this community.
Yeah, it's like these actors are in it. Like, this isn't just it is, I'm getting a paycheck, but they're in it. They're involved. People that hardly had anything to do with Star Wars ever are in it, and they're loving what's happening and transpiring before them. So, I don't know. I love it. I didn't think we'd spend that much time on that, but I thought it was worth mentioning because it was really cool hearing that stuff. So, 5 more episodes to go with that? It's crazy. Maybe we'll actually start seeing some behind-the-scenes stuff after all. We go through the directors and the casts and all this good stuff, which, I hope so. Now, folks, we talked about this in the past few episodes. We've talked about family and what it means to Star Wars and how Star Wars is family. It's a story of family and also a story of hope. Don't forget that. And there's a couple things that we needed to accomplish that we mentioned that we really wanted Holly to pick up. One was the Son of Dathomir 4 comic book line. Mm-hmm. Check. Done. The other was the 3 episodes of the Mortis family, the father, the son, and the daughter, the Force wielders. We were like, Holly, you got to see this. We got to talk about it. Check. Done. And it's funny that, we've been talking about family so much, and then we look at these 2 pieces of material, and they're all about family. It's about family, and I freaking love it. It's so cool. I mean, we all know Star Wars is about family, but when you really break these products down, that's absolutely what it is, and all the drama that ensues with family. But I want to start out with the Mortis story, Holly. I mean, I disclosed for you coming into it, this is going to be weird. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, so with that disclosure, what did you think?
I didn't think it was weird. You
didn't think it was weird at all?
I really liked it because that's stuff that I didn't know about before. And I mean, people are probably sick of hearing me say
totally sick of hearing you. Should I mute her now?
Mute me.
Mute you.
No, don't. People are probably sick of me saying this, but I don't really want to hear so much about the Skywalkers and what they've gone through, because I'm kind of, ready to move on to new things. And so I know, the Clone Wars, we still follow Anakin Skywalker through the Clone Wars. However, I like these other arcs that are in here because this is stuff that I didn't know about. And so I think that really piques my interest. So learning about the dynamic between, I guess they're called the Ones.
The One, yeah.
But, and seeing kind of what happened on Mortis was very interesting to me.
Yeah, it takes you out of it, and it's another family story, but
the most dysfunctional family so far.
Oh, in the universe and probably all universes.
I mean, even more so, I would say, than the dynamic between Luke, Leia, and Darth Vader.
I mean, it puts Luke making out with his sister,
whatever.
Blows that out of the water. You guys got some real problems. I'm sure they would want to be making out with each other compared to the problems they have. Anyway.
Moving
on. It almost puts, we know the Old Republic, we know this stuff, but there's more force power out there from an older time that I love. The father says we've been forgotten by pretty much everyone. We're kind of out here alone doing our own thing, but a power long forgotten, long ago. It just adds a little context to we don't necessarily know where the Force began, but this place where they are, all of the Force goes through this. It acts as a
conduit.
conduit, right, for the Force, which is crazy. So trying to put this in perspective, like what this is, you really can't comprehend it. But Luke, did you have a chance to? How long has it been since you've watched the Mortis story in Clone Wars?
Not very long. I have watched that arc since series finale aired. So within the past 2 weeks, or barely 2 weeks from that, I've been diving back into Clone Wars. I started back on a rewatch of the chronological order.
Yeah.
But before I started that, I just watched the Mortis arc first. That was like one of the things I wanted to get back to, and it's not until I think season 3. So, and even in the chronological order, it's deep in. So I kind of couldn't wait to watch it again.
Yeah.
Doing the chronological rewatch. So I just did that first, and then I'll hit it again in the chronology too eventually. So yeah, it hasn't been very long.
So it's fresh on the mind. What? And I want to get to Holly here in a second, but I want to ask you, like, what is it that captures you about that story? Because it's a weird thing. It just kind of happens out. They're out on a mission, like, we got this distress call. Let's go check it out. And it's like knocked out. Boom, we're in this place. Like, it's weird. But like, what captivates you about it? Like, Holly likes seeing it. It's so vastly different from the boring Skywalker story.
My God.
But like, what is it that really captures you that keeps you coming back to the Mortis family?
Well, in either the last episode of our podcast or the one prior, I said, the Force comes up in Star Wars in two main ways: as a plot device to move things forward, like, oh, they just escaped that prison cell using the Force.
Yeah.
Or it's, exploring the spirituality of the Force as a philosophy, as a theology, as a moral compass. And so to me, like this, there's really no need to move the story along plot device wise, because it's outside of all the battles of the Clone Wars. So it's not just about what's going on in this battle and how did the Jedi as generals utilize the Force, or how does Dooku use it to counteract them. It's let's take a look. What does the dark side mean? What does the light side mean? How are they in conflict? What does it mean for them to be in balance?
Yeah.
The real heart of it, of this philosophy.
Yeah. Holly, is that something that you took from it? What did you take from all of this?
Yeah,
These 3 episodes.
Right. There's a lot that happens in just, maybe an hour.
Yeah.
I think that my immediate feeling, even after like the first episode, was just like sad. Like I just felt it
sad.
just like it made me so sad. I was like, here is this person who is playing the role of a father figure, which we know from Star Wars, it doesn't even matter if it's the TV shows or if it's any of the 3 trilogies. The father figure plays such an important role in all of Star Wars, Yeah. And so do mother figures. But for this particular dynamic here, it's like the father figure, and it's just like the father trying to do what is best for everybody, and maybe even not for him, and maybe even not for his children. But he just is isolating them for the sake of the galaxy and to balance the Force so that chaos doesn't ensue, right?
Yeah.
And he thinks that he does the right thing by, trying to bring the chosen one here to replace him, maybe.
Yeah.
But ultimately, like, we know that things don't always work out, or as Luke says, this is not going to go the way you think, which I think is also true for all of Star Wars ever.
Yeah.
But it was just so sad to, like, see him go through that with his family and then try to do the right thing to, like, help the galaxy, and then it all fails, and everything that he, like, fought to preserve just kind of falls apart.
Yeah, it's very tragic. And you're right, it's very sad. The father. Now I also love that they just present themselves. Like, we first meet the daughter and they're like, "What's your name?" She's like, "Daughter." Okay.
That's all
cool.
you need to know.
That's all we need to know, because we're going to be done with you here in 3 episodes. So, but he's making the ultimate sacrifice of not just himself and isolating himself from the rest of the galaxy, but his family, his son and his daughter. He's not allowing them to grow, to do anything. He's honestly keeping them contained for the sake of the galaxy. And I'm sure they, don't like him for that. I mean, obviously the son doesn't, but I'm sure the daughter's a little bitter as well. But it's a story of family. And he doesn't know what to do. There's this story of the chosen one, and he apparently believes the prophecy too. And I love that Anakin just says that's a myth. He doesn't even believe it himself, which is amazing. I love it. Everyone says, you're the chosen one, you're the chosen one, you're the chosen one. Mace Windu doesn't know he's the chosen one. He's the only skeptic, and Anakin.
And Qui-Gon comes back and tells him over and over again. I think Qui-Gon comes up, 2 or 3 times in all of these episodes. And he comes to Anakin and he tells him and that he's the chosen one. And then he says to Obi-Wan in another vision, he's like, I told you he was the chosen one.
Yeah. Well, Qui-Gon even asked Anakin, do you think you're the chosen one? It's like,
how would I know?
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. You said that was one of the first episode. You're like, this is extremely sad.
Yeah.
And you even sense the sadness coming from the son.
Yeah.
And this is something else, Luke. It's something I've never picked up on, because when I watched this, I was just like, yeah, the son's dark, the daughter's light, the father's in the middle. But it's like, they repeated this over and over. The son has gone down the path of the dark side. There wasn't necessarily this, I don't know, imbalance. I mean, is balance just light then? Because he said he's been balancing them, but the son has been going down a path of darkness. He's going to the dark side. So was he good at one point, Luke? Is that something you ever picked up on? I just kind of assumed he was just like Satan himself, like he was born in darkness.
No, I think it's more if he has a natural tendency towards that, but it doesn't mean he is all dark.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say he clearly has a compassion and a connection with his sister.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's very distraught when she meets her demise.
Yeah.
So he's not completely selfish and completely unattached or uncaring about other things other than his own power, his own dark path. I think it's more nuanced in that way. And I think one of the things I like the most about this arc in relation to some of the other things we've been talking about on the show lately is the way it shows all the major figures in Anakin's life and how they influence him and how they can, what he thinks they think about him or what impression they've left on him or the loss he feels from his connection or lack of connection to them impacts what he's going to do, what he might potentially become. Yeah. And that's something that we've seen a lot in the new Darth Vader line that we've been talking about. Some of my favorite frames and pages of the comic are the ones that keep flashing back, and you see images of Padme and you see images of Shmi. Yeah. And those memories are triggered by what he's going through at this time in this new Vader line, which takes place after Empire Strikes Back. So, yeah, it was great to see Qui-Gon show up and conversing with him. And you see that bit where he sees the vision of Shmi. Mm-hmm. Or is it the brother? Is it the brother pretending to be Shmi?
It was, yeah.
But you can see how that connection could be used to manipulate Anakin.
I think so, and that's something else that I really enjoyed about this arc is that I feel like it's very eye-opening, even for like Anakin to see all this stuff happening and have somebody else tell him, somebody else who he was like, who are you? Like, what are you? And it kind of puts it into perspective for him. Look, it's not just the Sith and it's not just the Jedi. There are other things going on and everybody is affected. And there are people who you don't even think about because you're so wrapped up in what's going on with the Jedi and you're so wrapped up in what's happening with this war that you don't even know that there are other things at play here.
Yeah. Get up on that pulpit.
Yeah, here I am.
Come on.
But I don't know. I just like, I guess, and they tell him that in this episode, you know, you've been like so close-minded. I don't think they say it like that, but essentially they tell him, you know, like wake up.
Well, because he confronts the brother and he says, "You're a Sith." He's like, "Yes, and no," and he pretty much says, "Yeah, like you have no idea what else is out there. It's more than the Jedi and the Sith." And you're absolutely right. And yeah, it's just that moment, even like it's crazy to me because that moment that Shmi appears, and we know it's the brother, but the brother even says, pretending to be Shmi, like, you need to let the guilt that you're carrying with go. I thought that was really crazy that the brother's telling him all that you've done and all the you just need to let that go.
Yeah.
That guilt, let it go. I was like, wow, it almost felt like Shmi because you know that's not necessarily something, an angle that you would have thought the brother would play there, but it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy.
I think that there's when we think about the dark side, we think of a lot of like manipulation and we think of a lot of bad intentions, and I think that that's just because, you know, the main driving force behind the dark side, I mean, other than like
Greed,
the actual right, but like the one person, like the puppet master pulling the strings is Palpatine, right?
Yeah.
But I think, and this is just me, I think that there were a lot of parallels between some of the things that the brother was saying to Anakin in the beginning of the arc and the things that we've heard Palpatine say.
Yeah.
But I don't think that the brother was under any manipulation from Palpatine. I don't think that they were able to be touched by Palpatine. And so I think that a lot of the things the brother was saying to Anakin were very genuine.
Yeah.
And when he showed him the vision of what was going to happen to him, and he said, and he sounded so convincing, and he just sounded like very sad and very true. Anakin was like, I can't handle seeing what I'm going to become. And then the brother was like, it doesn't have to be like that. Yeah. And it wasn't like a Palpatine way of saying like, oh, well, like this is going to work out in my to my advantage. Like it doesn't have to be like that. I'm very excited because now you're upset, and now like, you know, I can control what your next decision is. Yeah. But it was just like, you have a choice to make and you're going to make it yourself, but this is what's going to happen and I can help you change that. He doesn't say this is the only way to change it. He doesn't say you only have one option and that's come with me so this doesn't happen. He just shows him, and then he's like, it doesn't have to be that way. Oh,
he definitely doesn't fight it much. Like, if anything, we see Anakin is very trusting. Mm-hmm. He is very trusting. And that's scary because he is so powerful. It was crazy to see how powerful he was on Mortis. I love Obi-Wan's when when Obi-Wan and Ahsoka were both held captive, and Obi-Wan said, "Remember, the Force flows through the planet. Use it." And he taps into that, and you're like, "Oh my God, what's he gonna do?" Like, he's powerful, and for how trusting he is, he's an easy target. He just was, and that goes to show it wasn't just the Emperor that was able to do it. I mean, this dude, Anakin saw his entire future in a vision. And he's like, wow. And this dude's like, I can, like, it doesn't have to be that way. Okay. But,
like, I don't know. It's just like, oh, well, it wasn't even like a conversation of like, okay, well, tell me what I can do to make sure this doesn't happen. Yeah. He's just like, well, here I go.
I'll join you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was cool to see him. I don't know. It was very, just the visuals and everything. You even mentioned it, Holly. Very much like Mustafar, getting us ready for that confrontation there, and just the dark side flowing through that planet and in this place here. I think they said that all of the darkness in the galaxy flows through that one area where they were, which was cool. And so it was very reminiscent of that. But even his eyes, the yellow eyes, and just the, I don't know, the dark, you could see the darkness in his eyes is just getting you ready for it.
You guys, I said to Michael, I was like, the way that Anakin looks after he joins the brother is the way that I thought we were going to see him in the last season of the Clone Wars, and we didn't. Yeah. But that's exactly what I imagined.
Maybe sans yellow eyes, but like more exhausted, tired, little, No, I totally get you.
He had those Darth Maul eyes.
He did. Luke, anything else that anything else about that arc that sticks out. I mean, obviously it's a story of family. It's just a unique way of telling it, and they all loved each other, but they knew this is what, well, the brother didn't. This is what had to be done to save others. Others they didn't even know about. They didn't know anybody else in the galaxy. You would think they've been long forgotten. So why stay? Well, there's a bigger purpose there. It's just crazy. Anything else, Luke, about that though that you want to get off your chest?
Yeah, to kind of follow up on what Holly was just saying there towards the end with the latest season of the Clone Wars. I think the only kind of snippet we got, sort of showing Anakin's penchant for the dark side, or not following the Jedi dogma, was in the Bad Batch arc when he got his hands on Admiral Trench.
Yeah, that was dark.
And took care of Admiral Trench the way he did. That was the little bit of darkness that we got in this final season of the Clone Wars. But so much of the season wasn't really about Anakin per se.
Yeah.
And Dave Filoni has given quotes and an interview answers saying, Anakin and Obi-Wan's story is in the main saga films. It's in episode 2. It's in episode 3.
Yeah.
We didn't want to try to retell that. This final season of Clone Wars is a lot more about Rex, a lot more about Ahsoka, so that's what we focus on more. But thinking of and watching Mortis makes me also think of, in the last Casual Council, our good friend Andy Dugan. Very excited that he was on.
Amen.
Hopefully he can be on some more in the future, so we can reconnect a little bit more. And he mentioned how sudden Anakin's fall feels in episode 3 in particular. And I think one of the most enjoyable things and most rewarding things about the Clone Wars is just flushing out all of that bit of Anakin's development, how he gets to the point where he can fall. And in the Mortis arc, very high among the things that do that in terms of just exploring what it is that tempts him towards the dark. It's his fear of further loss, like the loss of his mother, and how strongly he's connected to people, and really connects really well to Filoni's laying out the duel of the fates in that last episode of the gallery, the second episode. Getting to see Qui-Gon again and what might have been. Anakin, like Holly was saying, so readily followed the brother when he kind of laid things out for him. And I think it's because Anakin is trying to find that father figure that Filoni talked about, that he lost in Qui-Gon. Yeah. And he's so ready to grab onto something else. So yeah, just so many connections I can draw from this Mortis arc to all the things we talked about, and others like Filoni and everyone else talking Star Wars and creating Star Wars. So it's I think an arc you can just watch over and over again, and you get new things out of it.
Yeah, and I think especially right now, and I think maybe this is the reason why part of it was like so sad to me, but a lot of it was, about sacrifice, self-sacrifice, and isolation. And I feel like we all can relate to some of that right now because of everything that's going on. But I can just imagine, like, what a terrible decision to have to make, to be like, for the fate of, preserving everything else, I'm going to isolate myself and my entire family because we're all in isolation right now, and it's terrible. Wow. I would never want to willingly, obviously, like, sometimes you have to, but, like, I wouldn't ever want to have to make the choice to, like, willingly isolate myself or my children from the rest of the galaxy just to protect everybody else, but
Jesus, Holly, you just blew my freaking mind. You just blew my freaking mind. I there's not a lot of people that make that connection. There's 2 people here with me that I make these connections all the freaking time, and I'm honored to be able to have these conversations with them. But you're absolutely right. Like, how relatable is that? This wasn't planned. Okay, this just happened. Holly and I didn't talk about this. Luke and I didn't talk. None of us talked about it. That is just something that came to Holly's mind, relating to experiences and how relatable it is to something we just watched. How odd and crazy is it that you made that connection from something we just happened to watch because it was overdue for you to see this, and to make that connection, like how, what a sacrifice. We have people, ripping each other apart on the internet because they have to wear a mask and they feel like they're being, oppressed because they have to wear a mask into a freaking store. Like, that's not sacrifice, folks. Like, and I know this is a fictional story, but it's just like, wow, what a greater sacrifice for the greater good. A good that they didn't even know existed. They don't know these people. He said he heard the news of it. I'm like, how did you hear? Did you watch the television, Father? Like, how did you hear of the chosen one? But yeah,
he saw it on Twitter.
Maybe he was ahead of the time. I don't think Twitter was, well, maybe it was season 3, maybe, I don't know. But what a crazy connection, Holly. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah. So when you next time you want to bitch about having to wear a mask,
let's go. Come on.
Just think about all the other terrible things that could be happening to you or the people that you love and get over it.
Yeah, you could be, isolating your entire family
on Mortis,
on a remote organic, I don't even know what you call it.
A
conduit of the Force, and not allowing them to reach their full potential, whether it be good or bad. And ultimately know that you're about to die and someone else needs to bear that burden. And that's...
We all have choices
crazy
to make.
Yeah. Wow. What a connection, Holly. Mind is blown. And folks, I know yours is blown as well. Now, continuing on with our story of family, is the Son of Dathomir comic. Folks, we've talked about it a lot. We kind of went over the entire storyline, so to speak, and at times, and we were just like, Holly, you got to read this. You got to read this. It's 4 issues, bust it out, and you did. Mm-hmm. You did. And Luke, we've always talked, what a great story this would be in the Clone Wars, and it was a shame that they couldn't put it in an animated form. But Holly, you read the 4 issues. What did you think? More Maul, more of your favorite.
Yeah, I definitely blew through the comics super fast. Luke was like, "Hey, you should read it," and I was like, "Yeah, okay."
Yeah.
Probably like in an hour.
Yeah.
I was done. I should have gotten a refresher tonight when Michael was reading them.
That's okay.
Didn't really get that refresher. But I think these comics kind of, gave me a better understanding of that like power struggle between Maul and his people and where he fits in, and then his prior master, and then also that building of the relationship that he has with Mandalore.
Yeah.
I just feel like I feel like there's still a lot of story there that hasn't really been told yet, but
yeah, no, it goes quick. But here's the thing. If you want to see a quick glimpse in the roller coaster that is Maul's life, and on a day-to-day it swings from really high to really shitty, read these 4 comics because, boy, it starts out with him being held captive by Count Dooku, right? Being hit with lightning. It goes from escaping that scene. The Mandalorians come in and help him. He goes back to his crime syndicates, builds up a lot of forces, and I'm paraphrasing the entire story here, right? Summons his forces. They lead an attack on the Separatists, and they bait him into making an attack, and it goes horribly wrong or whatever. But he goes from getting his crime syndicate things seeming okay. He captures Count Dooku, and I got you now. Oh, now we're gonna end this master of yours. And ultimately, some things happen or whatever. But it ultimately ends in an epic battle between Mother Townsend and Count Dooku in Sidious, and he loses his mother. And that's just another thing, another instance of loss that you don't see in the Clone Wars. You don't see it in the movies. You don't see it in Rebels. You don't see it there. How impactful this would have been to add this into that entire Clone Wars story. It would have been epic. Obviously, a lot more happened than what I just said, but those are some of the high points. Even lets Count Dooku loose to tag team. Oh God, I don't even remember who he's tag teaming or whatever, but he let him loose. Almost kind of an Ahsoka moment. It was a nice echo back to that. He goes and lets Dooku out in a moment of need. So there's a lot of cool things there. Just cool, like seeing the Mandalorians and their armor and how exact it was, put into the Clone Wars. I thought that was awesome. And some of his Crime Syndicate people there. But Luke, I don't know if you got a refresher or not, my friend, but it is ultimately a story of family, but, more loss for Darth Maul, but something that would have been great to see on film or in a television show. But I'm glad we at least got this story in some form when we thought we would never get anything else again. It meant enough to that development of that character to put it on paper at least. I don't know if you got to revisit it, lately, but ultimately, man, what did you think of that little story there? We talked about it a lot, but let's bring it up again.
Yeah, I think one of the most interesting aspects of it that you learn is that Palpatine sought Mother Talzin out.
Yeah.
To learn from her, what aspects of the Force is she tapping into? What dark side, things does she know that maybe studying the Sith I don't learn? It shows how resourceful he is and how he was able to, pull off all his machinations because he was willing to tap every bit of the dark side that he could get his hands on.
Yeah.
And you learn that that's how he found Maul, because he sought out Mother Talzin, which makes sense. And then he said, oh, this, Maul would be useful to me. He's powerful in the Force. He would be a powerful sort of weapon, and I can take him as my apprentice. And yeah, when you talk about, this speaking about family, that's one of the reasons Talzin hates Palpatine, is because, he took her son away from her. Yeah. And you get the connection of, although he doesn't always treat him the greatest, Maul's connection to his brother Savage is in the show as well, in the Clone Wars. And so, yeah, it's surprising to get this character that we see in Episode 1 who is just this embodiment of evil in the way that he looked and the way that he acted. And then to get this much more, human side of him throughout all this, about his connection to his mother and his brother. And it's just another example of Maul kind of falling flat on his face and then getting back up again to fall flat on his face in another way, just defeat after defeat. So it all ties in really well to that as well.
Okay.
Come on.
No Fallen Order spoilers.
Oh, God, yeah.
So I can't wait until you guys know more about what happens in Fallen Order, but I don't know. There are like a lot of connections that I've been making between these two stories, and there's another witch in Fallen Order, and it's a very similar storyline, and I just feel so sorry for everyone who lives on Dathomir, because I just feel like they're so misunderstood and they're persecuted. Wow. But people really want to like tap into their power, and they want them to teach them all their tricks, and then they just throw them away. Yeah. They're like, hey, teach me how to do your magic. Yeah. And now I'm going to murder you, so I'm the only person who knows how to do this. Yeah. And I just like...
That's a Palpatini, we call it.
They're pulling a Palpatini.
Right.
And it's not the first time that's happened to the witches, and it's not the last time it's going to happen to them. And I don't know. It's just a very sad story, and I don't know. I really feel for them, because I just think that they've been so misunderstood. So that you have a lot of trust issues, and that's why Maul has a lot of trust issues, not getting into the psychology of a fictional character too much. But I feel like that's something that a lot of people can still relate to. He doesn't seem to have a moral compass, but then let's look into why. Yeah.
Well, that's we're talking about family, right? And that's a great point. He was taken from his mother at birth. He doesn't really know her, reconnects with her, so to speak, trying to really bring her back in the flesh. And she has a side of her. She wants to rule as well. She'll destroy Palpatine and rule the galaxy. She says that in this comic book. So it's not like she's out to save the planet or save the galaxy. She would like to probably, dominate it as well. but reconnects with her, and then ultimately loses her again. Witnesses it. It's terrible. It's terrible stuff. But and Luke's right. There's a power there that Palpatine is seeking, and it's crazy too because when Maul escapes, he is obviously Palpatine's worried about Mother Townsend and her power, and she rivals him. She could bring an end to his schemes. But Maul could as well if Maul is to learn those powers and they are to work together. So at the end of it, it's really telling that when they destroy Mother Townsend and Maul gets away, Dooku says, "Master, I'm sorry, Maul got away again." He said, "That doesn't matter now. He's broken. He's lost his mother. Like that's all that I've taken everything from him now. He won't be a problem anymore." It's pretty much what he's saying. So I thought that was he feared Maul. He didn't think he was a worthy adversary, but with his mother, they could cause some problems. But man, that moment to me, we're talking about echoes, Mother Townsend taking on Dooku and Palpatine, and I had forgot that Grievous is there. Grievous is there in that moment with his two lightsabers. He's the one that ultimately kills her. So it's Mother Townsend versus those three freaks. And Maul's like, "Use my power. I can help you," or whatever. And she says, "No, they'll destroy you. Like, you need to get out of here." Is it just me, or did anyone have a little Kanan Jarrus moment and say, "Oh my goodness"? Luke, were you seeing those echoes too, man? Just like go. I'm surprised she didn't force push him to the ship and send it off, right? Were you having those echoes too?
Oh yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. I was thinking that, as you've been recounting a lot of this stuff, and that image was in my head. That sort of side by side image of the way it's shown in the comic of her.
Oh.
Pushing Maul away. You got to run.
Yeah.
While she holds back the threat. That has a great connection to Rebels there, for sure.
And dare I say, it had a little Voldemort and Harry Potter moment too. No.
Wasn't there.
In this case, it's both evil. But let's be honest. If you're studying witchcraft, am I right? No, Ollie. No?
Sure.
Yeah, no, it's just, I don't know, so many connections. That's why it's like, this, for me, like, Star Wars is never ending. I don't just, like, watch Star Wars, like the Clone Wars, and then not ever go watch it again. Because the more, like, with the Rebels, you just finished, we just had that moment with Kanan Jarrus, and then you go back and you see this, wow, like, man, yeah, is it similar? But it's effective every time. Do I feel terrible for Kanan Jarrus and the rest of the Rebels? Absolutely. Like, I cried. But, like, I also feel for Darth Maul in this moment.
Yes.
Witnessing his mother, who he had, just come to know again and had figured out a way to bring her back. And then to see him, to lose her to the people that he hates. Mind you, he wants revenge on Palpatine for what he's done, and now he's taking his mother.
Now he wants it even more.
More fuel for the fire. Like, it's just, man, guys, if you haven't picked that up, it's worth a read. I don't think we're ever going to get it in any other form. And if you're not a big comic book reader, I totally get it. And that's why we enjoy talking about these things, because it's just great stories. Yeah. And it's great echoes of prior Star Wars stories.
I think that this comic kind of, I don't know, I guess all the stuff that we've kind of talked about, and you guys were talking about Rebels, I feel like it makes the moment that Obi-Wan strikes Darth Maul down, and his final words to Obi-Wan is like, he will avenge us all. Yeah. And I just feel like it makes that moment that much more important. Preach, because you see why he was so hell-bent on taking down.
Well, because at that point, that moment, it's not just about revenge for being betrayed by his master, right? It's way more complex than that. You betrayed me. You promised me all these things. You promised me glory, and you took that from me. But now you've also taken my mother. Like, this isn't just like, some leader of that. Like, this is his mother. Mm-hmm. And you've taken that from me as well. You're absolutely right. It makes those moments more powerful. It almost feels like our Star Wars creators are saying, how far can we beat Darth Maul down? Like what moments can we create that just really make other moments even more impactful? Because you're right, Holly, they keep doing that. You know, that was an epic moment when it happened, and you're right. It's just, wow, almost feels like a bit of redemption there for Darth Maul. But this story here makes it that much more impactful.
Yeah.
Great connections, Holly. Holy cow.
Thanks.
You're freaking killing it tonight. Killing it every night, both of you guys, because these are conversations, guys, that I have with no one else. And I know a lot of you sweaties out there don't get to have these conversations with others. We have some closet nerds. Yeah, Jory, I'm talking to you. We have some closet nerd listeners, and we want you guys to share in these moments, because every time we all talk, am blown away by what these guys say. But like, I know you are too, and I'm glad you're sharing these experiences with me, and having these immediate reactions, just saying, Jesus, I never made that connection. But you're so right. Just you keep coming back to Star Wars, and it's just going to present itself in a different way every freaking time, because they continue to build off these stories. They find ways to make them even that much bigger and emotional, even when you didn't think it was possible. It's stunning. It's stunning.
Yep. And if you're not going to play Fallen Order, just dig into...
Can they watch the clip scenes? Can they go back and watch those?
I think you can watch it on YouTube.
Okay.
Dig into the story behind Sister Marin and Malakoi and just read into that, because, I mean, read these comics and then read the stories or watch the clips of what happens on Dathomir in Fallen Order. And, I mean, it's just... It's so good.
God, if Holly isn't deep and sweaty into Star Wars lore, I don't know who is now. Because that's some sweaty stuff there, Holly. Who did you say, Sister
Marin?
Marin, cheesy Pete. Luke, that's not someone who we're familiar with right now, but I'm sure she's going to enlighten us here soon. But that's, we're going to have to get Luke. I know Luke doesn't have a lot of time for games. We're going to find a way to get him this or get the story to him. But I was blown away, guys. I've played quite a bit of it now. What do you think? I'm 70% of the way through or something, Holly? Cheesy Pete, guys. Cal's another tragic story. I mean, my God. Him and his master, let me just say that, Order 66, that was powerful stuff. Cheesy Pete. I won't say much more than that, but
it's so good.
That's a comment. We have to talk about Cal at some point, because Cal is such a complex character as well, and I'm just now getting into this maybe darker side of Cal that I'm seeing.
Cal
at times.
and Seer, who is
his mentor, kind of, you would say, yeah, you're absolutely right.
Such great characters. Like, if you need a refresher, or if you want some new characters to learn about, but still, I mean, truly canon, and really building off of Order 66 and the stories that and even some of the characters that I mean, Cal knew Yoda. Cal worked with Yoda, was led by Yoda. So I think, I don't know, there are some familiar faces there, but just new characters and new stories to learn, and just so amazing.
Oh, it's awesome. And we found out recently we're going to be getting more Fallen Order stories. Hopefully that was true. I think it was.
That was a rumor that I would like to believe.
Absolutely. Well, I don't know how it ends, but ultimately I kind of feel like I know how it ends, but there's more story to be told. We know that there always is, and they're going to find ways to connect it to all of this, and it's fantastic. Stories of loss, stories of triumph, stories of family. It's Star Wars. It just is. It's so freaking great. Guys, this was an unexpected conversation, but boy, was it a good one. Anything else? Anyone have any other really huge moments they want to share? Any connections that are going to blow me away anymore? None from the Brady Bunch here.
Tapped out.
Out. It's a late night for us, guys, but it was well worth it, because that y'all just blew my mind with everything that was said tonight. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed that conversation too. Like I said, a little bit random, but It's all relevant. It's all relevant to future Star Wars. It's relevant to past Star Wars. It's gonna be relevant.
So much content out there
Yeah.
to explore. Especially, I feel like the more new content we get, the
Yeah.
more it relates to some of the older stuff that we have.
Right.
And you go back and you rewatch that. I mean, I'm sure that next week, if Luke keeps watching and rewatching the Clone Wars, I'm sure he'll have a new connection. I'm sure that we'll hear new things. So, and I really enjoy that.
Yeah. And can I just say, guys, in the beginning of this, I don't know if Luke and Holly were really into the comic book thing. I was like, guys, come on, give it a chance. I think they're sweatier than I am now in them. It's freaking great. And that just shows you, it's like, they're not meant for everybody, but like, these are quick stories, but they're so impactful. And when you find the right story, boy, like this one, it knocks it out of the park. There's some weird ones out there, I get it, but like, it's a medium that can really take you somewhere quickly. And it can make a big impact. But so these guys, I never thought Holly would be reading comic books.
I didn't either.
But she is, and she enjoys it. And I know Luke was hungry for more Star Wars content, and now we've unleashed a monster in Marvel Unlimited. Uncontrollable, just devouring that content, which is amazing. So we're going to continue to talk about the comic books, and if that bores some of you guys, I'm sorry, but it's where some of the best stories are in Star Wars right now. It just is.
Just try to read them. You might
give
be
them a
surprised.
shot. Absolutely.
And besides, the artwork is really cool. If anything, you're going to get some super sick art.
Yes.
So comic book artists are just amazing.
Absolutely. I'm glad they haven't given up on it. I was a little worried about Star Wars comics for a while, but they have really, really good stories, and they're depending a lot on like Darth Vader and those classic characters, but like Dr. Aphra is a character that's been very successful and has tie-ins to Vader, yes, but like stands alone, has a great story. So they're going to continue to do this, and I know we're going to get more of it. And it's going to add just to the lore, and it's freaking fantastic. So hope you guys enjoyed that conversation. We will be back next week with more conversation, but Holly,
Michael,
the moment of truth. Everyone's wondering, when are we going to talk about Bloodlines? She's like, you
put me on
the spot again.
I'm not going to, I know I keep saying that I'll post something. I think that it's complicated with the stuff that we're obligated to do on the weekends.
Is that a Facebook status, or it's complicated? Okay.
And then the holiday weekend's coming up, so I don't know. We'll post it.
We're going to post it, guys, and so we'll get back to you on that. So expect some information about that. Get in the group. Check us out. I'm on Twitter, guys, okay? I'm not blowing up Twitter. I'm learning Twitter. Twitter's a dark place, Holly. People can be very mean on Twitter.
I hate Twitter. I'm just going to say it. I literally hate Twitter. I hate the people on Twitter.
Not everyone. We got a lot of people on Twitter.
I love our people on Twitter. Yeah. Everybody else. God, Twitter's just so negative, and it just gives me so much anxiety when I get on there because people are just so freaking mean.
Oh, I was getting anxious going and reading some of the stuff this weekend.
They're so mean. Like, calm down. Go do something else. Take a walk.
It's a powerful platform. I will say that. People feel very empowered to say whatever comes to mind. But we are on there. I'm trying to make connections with people and try to talk Star Wars with folks on there. So I'm making efforts, but we'll see how successful it is. But get in that group. It's definitely a lot of fun there. Check us out there. Check us out on Instagram. Send us an email. Send a voicemail. Whatever it is you want to do. We just want to talk Star Wars with you guys. Read a comic book. I just started the intro. How embarrassing.
This is Michael's first time.
Wow, that sounded personal, Holly. I'm a podcast virgin. Folks, we only have to let this go another 30 seconds, and I'm not going to do that to you, but Michael accidentally hit the intro music, and Holly's the one that got it. I about took you out on the intro music. That's really embarrassing, and I'm blushing. You just can't see me because I didn't have the camera on me. That's how I roll. So we'll put it in post, guys. But I hope you guys have an epic week. We'll be back Monday with more Star Wars content. So be expecting us soon. So if we don't talk to you before then, we'll see you Monday. And may the Force be with you.